I'm Tom Moore, and I've officially won the trophy this year in our BMB Fantasy Football League.
I'm Sean McClellan, and this is the very last week I get to talk about the New York Jets.
I'm Matt Mano, and we are ready for the NFL playoffs.
I'm Finnegan Corcoran-Dolan, and stay tuned for our playoff and Super Bowl predictions.
Hello and welcome to BMB's Primetime Fantasy Report for Week 17 in the NFL. This week was the final week of the regular season and had some jam-packed games and some controversy. Before we get into all that, you the viewers have heard about our personal fantasy team since Week 3, and I can say I'm the fantasy champion.
Even though I went 12-1, you almost didn't make the playoffs. Remember that.
Who has the championship right now in their hands, Mano?
Okay, please. We all know that I had the best team.
And you're also the worst manager, Mano.
Can't argue with that.
We still need to talk about Week 17. Starting off, it was division rivals Vikings versus Lions, and the Vikings came out on top. Cousins was feeling really good on the field, throwing 3 touchdowns and running in for 1 as well.
Ending the season off right and going into the playoffs with confidence was Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, who once again defeated the Falcons 44-27. Brady threw 4 touchdowns and are heading to the playoffs with a huge win like this.
For the last time of the show this year, the New York Jets lost. Shocking. They lost to Mano's Patriots with no surprise. But now we have the second pick in the draft and finally a possible new head coach. Gase, goodbye. See you never.
Yeah, well, my Pats will be back next year as well.
Well, Mano, your division looks like it's got a new leader. The Buffalo Bills, who destroyed the Dolphins 56-26. Buffalo keeps this up. The Pats aren't taking it to the top anytime soon, Mano. Sorry to say that. But
Hey, we can make the Super Bowl as a wild card. We've seen it before. You know the Giants who beat us in the Super Bowl. I don't want to talk about it, but they did it. The 2 times they beat us, they were wild cards. Ain't that right, Finn?
Yes, that is right, Mano.
Whatever. The Browns are headed to the playoffs for the first time since 2002, when none of us were even born yet. Led by Baker Mayfield, who I happen to have a jersey of, the Browns will tackle the Steelers, who they just beat, to move further in the playoffs.
Well, it was a fun season for the Giants after getting a huge win over the Cowboys, and all we needed was for the Eagles to win, but what did they do? They threw the game away. The Eagles have screwed the Giants and should lose their draft pick and maybe a fine. Look, I understand it benefited them by losing, but come on, play the 60 minutes of football. Watching that game was an embarrassment for the NFL and the sport of football. But whatever, Washington will get eliminated by the Bucs first round. Before we finalize this here, we're going to talk about the Eagles game. All 4 of us know football, and watching football for however long, this was not right at all. And Doug Peterson is now wanted in New York.
All right, can I start this off?
Yeah.
I start this off? All right. So, Finn, what I think the Eagles did was not right, but Giants fans also have no right to be crying about the situation. They went 6-10. A 6-10 team should not be crying that another team tanked to get them in the and cost them their season. You guys win 6-10. You should not have to be relying on other teams to get you in the playoffs. You guys should have been out of the playoffs by week 14.
Mano. It's not about relying on another team. It's more about one team playing football. And, these guys on the Eagles, right, they have a job. They're getting paid. They need to go out there every Sunday and, play football. And if Doug Peterson's going to take Jalen Hurts out of the game because he's afraid he's going to get injured with however many minutes left in the game, why did Doug Peterson sign him on his team? Why is he in the game? These guys have a job and they got to do it every Sunday.
You shouldn't put a rookie in that situation. I mean, that's terrible. You want this guy for many years. I don't know. He'll definitely be back next year because Wentz will be traded away. But let's look at this, right? Let's look at this in a way, right? you have players' last games on here. Zach Ertz, he's pretty much gone now, right? I don't see a contract going to happen in the future for him. It looks like Goddard has that if Goddard's healthy. Of course, you want him to be healthy. Zach Ertz used to be one great tight end in the league. Unfortunately, this season having a bit of a bad season. But it was his last game. And Doug Peterson, in my opinion, I think that was just a terrible thing, that what Doug Peterson did. But, yeah.
Yeah, Finn, I want to add something right there, right? You go back to the end of that game. It was Zach Ertz, Carson Wentz, and Jason Kelsey. They all were down on the sideline until 1 a.m, just soaking it in. It could possibly be their last game as an Eagle. Zach Ertz came into the year uncertain about 2021 in the future for him. If he had a big year, he might stay with the Eagles. Injuries and stuff like that killed it. Wentz is, not in a great relationship right now with Doug Peterson. And Jason Kelsey, he's started all 16 games this year. He's 33 years old, offensive lineman, getting hit every play. So, it's definitely an unfortunate scenario for all three of them.
Especially if Jalen Hurts is getting taken out, and if Doug Peterson's worried about Jalen Hurts and the Packers weren't worried about playing Aaron Rodgers week 17, what does that tell you?
Yeah, the Packers actually were playing to win the game. And I just want to say, Adam Gase is a bad coach, but Doug Peterson has to be in the running for the worst head coach, GM, higher up in the NFL. This guy is all focused on the analytics. Meanwhile, he's going for it on fourth down when he has no business doing so. Now, I think we can all take away one thing that the Eagles seriously need to learn.
Well, Mano, you're right about Adam Gase. He is the worst coach by far. But also, if you look over the previous years, the Eagles have gone for it on fourth down consecutive times, as they do not trust their kicker. As in the Super Bowl where they beat your Patriots, Mano, they went for it on fourth down almost every single time.
But Oh, by the way, that kicker, Jake Elliott, he had a 61-yarder. How can you not trust a guy who had a 61 game-winning field goal against, who do you know, the Giants? So, moving on, while Finn said that the Washington football team will get easily swept aside by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I wouldn't be so sure. I don't think the football team will win the game. People are sleeping on them. A lot of people are taking other upset games. I've seen people take the Browns game as an upset, and people take the Ravens over the Titans. I wouldn't consider that not necessarily an upset. And I don't think the football team will win the game. They have the perfect way to stop Tom Brady. It's been proven time and time again that to beat the GOAT, you have to get pressure. I know that better than anybody else here. The Washington football team does that just as good as anyone in the league, with rookie Chase Young leading the charge.
And finally, clinching a playoff spot was Baltimore Ravens with their blowout win over the Cincinnati Bengals. They will face the Titans in the first round of the playoffs.
Another team heading to the playoffs strong is the Indianapolis Colts, led by Phillip Rivers, and the Colts will have to take on the Buffalo Bills, who will be putting up quite a fight in this matchup.
Tennessee Titans got a win over the Texans this week in a thriller that ended in a field goal that hit the upright and doinked in instead of out. Bears. Derrick Henry topped 2,000 yards this season, and they will be heading to the playoffs. You really cannot ask for a bigger accomplishment than that. It's really going to be they're going to have a great running game against Baltimore, even though their run defense is really good. They're really smart having to play against Lamar Jackson in practice all the time. Derek, the story of that game is going to be whose run game is going to get going better. The Ravens dynamic one with all the read options, end arounds with Jackson, Edwards, Dobbins, or the Titans and Derrick Henry. And that's about it. But I'm just going to say, I was the one who was scared to play Derrick Henry in the playoffs, and I just want to see how right I was about that.
And helping out the Chicago Bears and themselves punching their way to the postseason, the Rams won and knocked out the Cardinals with a quarterback named John Walford. His business profession 2 weeks ago was in finance, and he gets a win over the Arizona Cardinals. Rams will take on the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Well, the Bears are heading into the playoffs, even though they had a tough loss against the first seed Green Bay Packers, who have a bye this weekend, and will face the winner of the Washington football team and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game.
The Saints defeated the Panthers, who have had a rough season so far. the Saints take on the Bears in the first round. We are not sure if Alvin Kamara will be back by then to help out the Saints. But let's just say our producer, Sean Petritis, is okay if Kamara takes another week off.
The LA Chargers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 38-21. To be fair, the Chiefs were not playing Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, or Travis Kelce. And so the Chargers are going into the offseason feeling good, especially because they fired head coach Anthony Lynn. I know a lot of Chargers fans, they're all extremely happy about this move.
I'll gladly take Anthony Lynn for the New York Jets.
Really?
Yes. We had Adam Gase.
Russell Wilson and the Seahawks got a win over the 49ers and will take on the Rams this weekend in the first round of the playoffs. For the 49ers, time to get healthy and practice for next season.
So this season was phenomenal, and we headed right into the playoffs. So here are our playoff brackets and who we believe will take on the Lombardi Trophy. So we got the Titans and Ravens. I'm going Titans. Steelers and Bears. Browns, I'm going Steelers. Bills and Colts. I'm taking Bills. That leaves for the AFC the Chiefs, who had a bye, and the Titans. I'm taking the Chiefs in that one. Explosive offense. Happened last year. It's going to happen again, I feel like. Steelers and Bills. I'm going Bills. I think just the Bills are going to take it to the AFC Championship with the Chiefs, and this game's going to be close. I feel like if the Chiefs don't bring their A game, Bills come out with an A game. Bills might take it, but Chiefs have the upside. And if any team can beat the Chiefs, I feel like it's the Bills. But we'll have to see. I took the Chiefs, and for the NFC Washington football team, the Bucks, I took the Bucks. That leaves Bucks and Packers. I'm going to take the Packers in that one, and then the Seahawks and Rams. You're going Seahawks. Saints and Bears. Sorry, Sean Petritis, but we're going Saints on that one. Saints and Seahawks. I took the Saints. Green Bay and Saints, leaning towards possible MVP candidate Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Their squad is going to take on the Chiefs, and I feel like the Chiefs are going to get it done in the end and win the Super Bowl this year. Mano, how about you?
All right, so I'm just going to get this out of the way. My prediction doesn't matter. It'll be Mano cursed anyway. Let's be real with ourselves. Okay. Horrible joke aside, because I can never make a good one for my life. I got a lot of it. Okay, looking at my bracket, I do have a lot of explaining to do. I see your brackets. I was the only one who saw everybody's brackets. This was supposed to be blind, but it kind of got spoiled right before we did it, but I digress. I saw everyone else's brackets, and they were all being, like, really safe picks. Like, they only differed by, like, who won the Super Bowl or one divisional round game that was meaningless in the end. I had a couple of out there picks, but I think it has a chance to work out. The only game Tom and I differed on in the wild card round, at least, was the Browns and the Steelers. This game, I very easily could have changed this following the announcement of Kevin Stefanski getting COVID-19. But I just don't think the Steelers are a playoff team. I think they were a regular season team. I still think they're frauds. I still think that their offense is stagnant. Their Browns defense is great. I think the game rides on Baker Mayfield and whether or not the Browns can get their offense going with their Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku. If that offense gets going, I think the Browns can actually win the game. But it is my upset. Biggest blowout. Sorry, Sean Petritis. It'll be the Bears and the Saints. And then and then everything else is really standard run of the mill. I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl, which is really more of an out there pick. But I think Josh Allen is playing his best football right now. I think the Bills as a whole are playing their best football. They got Kenny Stills, another explosive target for Josh Allen to just air it out down the field, and he'll have an accurate throw. I think that the Buffalo Bills are a playoff team. They were going to hang 50 on one of the top 10 defenses. That alone, like, solidified my pick over the Chiefs. And then I think they could beat the Packers even before they beat the Dolphins. So this is probably going to be another Mano curse instance, but I hope it won't. Hey, Q, how about you?
So, the Kansas City Chiefs, best team in football with possibly the best player in football, Patrick Mahomes, have the 1 seed, and that means they have the bye. Now we have Tennessee Titans, the 4 seed, taking up Baltimore Ravens, the 5 seed. Derrick Henry just topped 2,000 yards. This one goes to Derrick Henry. Now we have the 3-seeded Steelers versus the 6-seeded Browns. The Browns have no head coach. They're missing a Pro Bowl left guard in Joel Bitonio. I'm taking Big Ben and the Steelers. Bills, Colts, Josh Allen, Diggs. That's all you need to know. Packers now in the NFC have the number 1 seed as they were the second best team in football behind the Chiefs. And in this first round matchup, we have the Washington football team taking on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I just said the word Tom Brady. They beat the football team. Now we have the Seahawks versus the LA Rams. LA Rams have struggled a lot this year, have not been that consistent. I'll take the Seattle Seahawks. New Orleans Saints, Chicago Bears. Could surprise some people because I do believe in that Bears defense. However, Drew Brees, and if Kamara does play, I'm sorry, Sean. Now we have the Packers and Aaron Rodgers taking on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. He's been consistent every week. Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football, in my opinion. I take the Packers. Seahawks Saints. Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf have a very special connection, along with Tyler Lockett on the other side of that field. 2 deadly wide receivers against Marshawn Lattimore and Malcolm Jenkins at safety for the Saints, who I think Tyler Lockett runs by. I'll take the Seahawks. Green Bay Seahawks. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. Green Bay, better defense, better offense, better in every way. And then the Chiefs and Bills in the AFC Championship. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Best offense in football. Chiefs, Packers. Who wins? I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. Finn, what does your bracket look like?
Well, thank you, Sean. And I like your bracket board. Oh, my God. Let me start that again. Thank you, Sean. I like your playoff board, but this is what I think in my playoff board. So let's start with the AFC side first. The 4-seed Titans versus the 5-seed Ravens. And this one, I'm going to have to take Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Now, the Titans are a great team. Derrick Henry getting the 8th player ever to reach 2,000 rushing yards. But I do think the Ravens will win this one. And versus the Chiefs. Then, the Steelers versus the Browns. I don't think the Browns have much of a chance in this one. They don't have their coach, which is going to be really, really bad for the Browns here. And I think Big Ben and the Steelers will get the win here. Now, in the next one, you have the 2-seed Bills versus the 7th-seed Colts. Now, this game should be interesting because the Colts are a great team this year. We all know their defense is a great, great defense this year, and they just a great defense overall. But the question is, can you stop that Bills offense? And I do not think you can here. I think Diggs and Allen is just that combo that you want. So I think the Bills will go on to win that game, and they will versus the Steelers. Then the Chiefs versus the Ravens. I think in this one, we're going to see that the first seed Chiefs are going to have an easy win. No offense to the Ravens. I think the Ravens have a good team this year, but I do not see the Ravens totally winning this game just because the Chiefs are just a powerhouse in the NFL right now. Then you have the Steelers versus the Bills. I think this is easy for the Bills. I don't know. I don't see the Steelers really winning here. The Bills are just such a good side. This is a 3rd seed versus a 2nd seed, but I do see the 2nd seed Bills taking the win here. Now let's go over to the NFC side quick. Washington, the 4th seed side versus the 5th seed Buccaneers, who this will be a great matchup for both of these teams, but Tom Brady, greatest of all time, right? So he'll get the win against Washington. Don't think Washington have the power that the Bucs do. That wide receiver core on the Bucs is without a doubt one of the best in the league. You've got Godwin, You've got Mike Evans. You've got tons of guys like that on that team, and that just helps Tom Brady win that game. Then you have the Seahawks versus the Rams, and the Rams are a great team. Sean McVay is just such a good coach this year, I feel. But I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks will get that W, and their wide receiver core is also very good. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. That's a really good receivers right there. And I think the Seahawks defense could be good too in some ways. So I think they'll go on. And then we see the 2nd seed Saints versus the 7th seed Bears. And in this one, I don't think the Bears have much of a chance. No offense to the Bears. Their defense could be good at times with a ton of chances possibly to win that game. But I don't think that offense is going right now. No offense to them. The Saints are such a good powerhouse team that it's too good to say that they lose that game. So they will not lose that game. They will go on to win that game and then go on to verse the Seattle Seahawks. Then Green Bay Packers versus the Buccaneers. It's easy for me to say who wins this one, and I think it will be the Green Bay Packers. The MVP possibly going to Aaron Rodgers. It's too good to be true. Aaron Rodgers should win that game, even though the other guy on the field could be one of the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a really good game, but I think the Packers will win here. And then the Seattle Seahawks go on to versus New Orleans Saints. Then I think here, I know this could be maybe an upset in some ways, maybe not. I guess it's a close game. The 3rd seed Seahawks versus the New Orleans Saints. I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks will get a win against the Saints. Possibly Drew Brees' last year. So he's going to really want to win that game, but I just don't think it's possible. I think Russell Wilson is just a great quarterback, and he's just so good. And you've got DK Metcalf, you've got Tyler Lockett, and that defense for the Seahawks is amazing too in some ways. Could be better, but they're trying to get there. Then on the AFC Conference Championship, we're going to have the Chiefs going up against the Bills. Now, this one is an upset because Bills are going to get the win. Now, the Chiefs are a great team, and I think they are, without a doubt. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, some just names right there on that offense that are very, very good. But I don't think their defense will make it. I don't think they'll make the game close. I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs makes that Bills offense very, very good. So I think the Bills here will win the AFC Conference Championships, and they will go on to the Super Bowl. Now the NFC Championship. This will be the Green Bay Packers versus the Seattle Seahawks. This should be a very interesting game. Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers. Possible MVP candidate Aaron Rodgers is. And I think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they're just too good to be true. And I think Matt LaFleur, with this Packers side, will go on to win the NFC Championship and go on to the Super Bowl. Bills versus the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to want that Super Bowl very bad. Josh Allen is too. But I think this will be a very close game. And I think the Packers will go on to win the game. And they will be your Super Bowl champions. So, good luck to everyone. I've been Finnegan Corcoran, and I think I have the best bracket this year.
Yeah, sure you do, Finn. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the revamped Patriots roster and the new season in 2021.
Since week 3, I've been complaining about how bad the Jets have been, and now we're at the wrap-up of the season, and they still suck. I'm going to miss saying that for a year. Not really, but kind of.
Don't worry. They'll find a way to do something stupid even during the playoffs, even though they're not in it.
Yep, we're going to win one game.
If you're lucky.
I've been Tom Moore, your current reigning BMB Fantasy Champion. We'll see you next week for BMB Primetime Fantasy Sport Playoff Special.